All right, so here, section 10.4, we're looking at solving polynomials that are in factored form. All right, and so when we say a polynomial is in factored form, that means that we've written that polynomial as a product of two or more linear factors. So standard form would be 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. And then 2x squared plus 7x minus 15, we could get that by multiplying 2x minus 3 times x plus 5. So like we did in section 10.2, multiplying polynomials, if we FOILed those two, 2x times x would give us 2x squared. 2x times 5 would be 10x. Then negative 3 times x would be negative 3x. So 10x minus 3x would give us the 7x. And negative 3 times 5 would give us negative 15. So this is the factored form of this, meaning the factors, or the things we multiply together, to put it in standard form. Now, when we have it in factored form, we can use something called the zero product property, which tells us that if a and b are real numbers, and ab equals 0, or a times b equals 0, then one of those two terms, a or b, has to be 0. All right? The only way we get 0 when we multiply two things together is if one of them is 0. And 0 times any number, any term, is 0. So if a was 5, b was 0, 5 times 0 would give me 0. On the other hand, if a was 0 and b was 20, 0 times 20 is going to give us 0. So when we have it in factored form, set equal to 0, then this term is being multiplied times that term, and it equals 0. So that means that in order to solve this, we have to assume the possibility that either one of those terms could be 0. So x minus 4, that term could be 0, or the other one, x plus 1, could equal 0. And if I add 4 to both sides, that's going to give me that x is 4. So if x is 4, this term equals 0, which is going to make the whole thing equal 0 when we multiply it. Or if I subtract 1 from both sides on that one, that's going to give me x equals negative 1. So that gives me two possibilities for x. If it's positive 4, x minus 4, or 4 minus 4 becomes 0. So the whole thing becomes 0. Or if it's negative 1, we have negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. So that we'd have this times 0, which would equal 0. All right, b, we got x plus 8 squared equals 0. Which when we square something, it's the same thing as saying that term times itself. So x plus 8 squared is the same thing as x plus 8 times x plus 8 equals 0. So since these are both the exact same, we don't have to do it twice, because x plus 8 equals 0, subtract the 8, and x equals negative 8. So either case, x plus 8 or x plus 8, if I put negative 8 in there, it all becomes 0. All right, so then C, we got three polynomial terms, each one of them a binomial. And so any one of those three, since they're all being multiplied, if one of them equals 0, then the whole thing equals 0. So we figure out what values would make it equal 0. 3x minus 2 could equal 0. 4x plus 3 could equal 0. Or x plus 4 could equal 0. So add the two. So 3x equals 2. Divide by 3, or x is 2/3. 4x plus 3, subtract the 3. 4x equals negative 3. Divide by the 4. X equals negative 3/4. And subtract 4 from both sides. And we get x equals negative 4. So x could equal 2/3, and this all would become 0. X could equal negative 3/4, and it all becomes 0, or x equals negative 4 would make it equal 0. So that is solving polynomials in factored form.